Hi, I'm Mr. New Jersey. This is the second installment of a multi-part crash course in New Jersey government and politics. If you haven't already, you should watch the first video in this series before watching this one, because these videos are designed to build off one another and I will not be repeating information. Today we will cover the legislative branch of New Jersey's state-level government, and how a bill becomes a law in New Jersey. When talking about legislative branches in U.S. states and around the world, the term bicameral means that the legislature has two houses. Bills typically have to pass in both houses before moving on to the next step in becoming a law. Every U.S. state except for Nebraska has a bicameral legislature. Nebraska has a unicameral, or one-house, legislature. In most bicameral legislatures, one house is considered the lower house, and the other is considered the upper house. Lower houses typically have more members than upper houses. Lower house members typically have shorter terms of office than upper house members. At the federal level, the House of Representatives is the lower house, while the Senate is the upper house. In New Jersey, the General Assembly is the lower house, while the Senate is the upper house. For purposes of distinguishing, I'm going to refer to the Senate as the State Senate throughout the entirety of this video. New Jersey is divided up into 40 legislative districts of approximately equal population, which are redrawn following each U.S. Census. The voters in each legislative district elect 2 General Assembly members and 1 state senator, meaning the General Assembly has 80 members and the state Senate has 40. To be elected as an assembly person, one must be at least 21 years old, have lived in New Jersey for at least 2 years, and have been living in the legislative district they are running in for at least 1 year prior to the election. To be elected as a state senator, one must be at least 30 years old, have lived in New Jersey for at least 4 years, and have been living in the legislative district they are running in for at least the 2 years prior to the election. Salaries for assembly people and state senators are $40,000 annually, though they receive extra money for staff members, certain types of equipment, and some other benefits. As such, their jobs are considered part-time, and most members also have jobs in the private sector. Unlike with the federal government in most other states, New Jersey's state elections occur on odd-numbered years. General Assembly members are elected to serve 2-year terms. State senators are elected to serve 4-year terms, except for the first election of each decade, when they are elected to serve a 2-year term. The reason for this exception is so that once the legislative districts are redrawn following the census, the new districts can be implemented quickly. Unlike senators at the federal level, New Jersey's state senators are elected all at once rather than on a staggered basis. New Jersey's General Assembly people are also elected all at once. Here's an interesting historical side note for you. New Jersey used to elect its state senators by county rather than by legislative district, similar to how U.S. senators are elected by state rather than by congressional district. This means that counties with small populations had equal representation to counties with many times more people. This system changed when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that it is unconstitutional for states to set up legislative districts with unequal populations. Legislative leadership positions include the Speaker of the General Assembly, the President of the Senate, and the leaders of the Democratic and Republican political parties in each legislative house. The Speaker of the General Assembly is elected at the start of each term by the members of the General Assembly from the members of the General Assembly, although for practical purposes it is whoever the members of the majority party agreed ahead of time to vote for. The President of the Senate is elected at the start of each term by the members of the State Senate from the members of the State Senate, although for practical purposes it is whoever the members of the majority party agreed ahead of time to vote for. Both of the aforementioned officers run the meetings of their respective houses of the legislature, or, when they are not present, members of the houses designated pro tempores step in to run the meetings. An unofficial tradition dictates that of the Assembly Speaker and a Senate President, one must come from North Jersey, and the other must come from South Jersey. For example, as of 2017, the Senate President is Steve Sweeney of South Jersey's Gloucester County, and the Assembly Speaker is Vincent Prieto of North Jersey's Hudson County. Because New Jersey is heavily Democratic, and both houses of the legislature are, more often than not, controlled by Democrats, you may hear it said that New Jersey politics is not a battle between Democrats and Republicans, but between North Jersey Democrats and the South Jersey Democrats. Now I'll give a brief version of how a bill becomes a law in New Jersey. Before I start, know that there are numerous committees within each house of the legislature, composed of members of their house, which deal with bills about specialized subjects. Also know that the majority party in a given house of the legislature will also typically have the majority of members on every committee in that house. The first step in the legislative process is that a legislator either comes up with or hears an idea for a possible law and likes it. He or she brings the idea to the nonpartisan Office of Legislative Services, which researches the topic further and drafts the idea into a bill in proper legal format. A legislator, known as the bill's sponsor, introduces the bill into their respective house. There may be multiple co-sponsors of a bill. The leader of the house in question, either the Assembly Speaker or the Senate President, chooses a committee to send the bill to, or, on rare occasions, immediately schedules it for debate and a vote by the whole House. These important powers are used by the majority party to hinder bills it dislikes and help bills it likes. Assuming the bill is sent to a committee, the committee holds hearings on the bill, where members of the public can come and express their thoughts on it. The committee can amend the bill or entirely replace it with a substitute. The committee then votes on whether or not to approve the bill. If the bill is approved, it is sent back to the House's leader to be scheduled for a debate and a vote by the House. Through this power, the Assembly Speaker and Senate President exercise a large degree of control over their respective Houses' legislative agendas. Once on the House's floor for consideration, there is an opportunity for members of the House to propose amendments to the bill and have them voted on by the House's members, before a final vote on the bill itself is taken. If the bill receives a majority vote in its House, it moves on to repeat this process, minus the Office of Legislative Services, in the other House. If the bill is amended by the other House, the new version is sent back to the original House and voted on. Once the bill has been passed by both Houses in a single form, it goes to the governor, who, as we will discuss in the next video of this series, is the head of the executive branch of government. The governor can choose to sign the bill into law, veto it completely, conditionally veto it by sending it back to the legislature with suggested changes, or take no action on it. If the governor vetoes a bill, the legislature can, by 2/3 vote of both houses, override the veto and make the bill a law anyway. If the governor takes no action on the bill for 45 days, it becomes a law, although special rules replace this one if it is less than 45 days from the end of the legislative session. So, how soon after this process is complete does the law take effect? Well, most laws specify a day in their text upon which they will take effect, but laws that don't take effect on the next July 4th. Also, with regards to the legislative process, it's important to note that all bills setting up taxes must originate in the General Assembly, though after that they go through the legislative process in both houses as usual. This requirement is similar to a requirement in the federal government that all bills setting up taxes must originate in the House of Representatives, as opposed to the Senate. One of the legislature's most important annual responsibilities is to pass a budget, which basically says how the state will spend its money in the upcoming year. Interestingly, unlike at the federal level, the governor has the power to line-item veto pieces of the state budget. This means that he can veto some parts of the budget and sign the rest. This is an incredibly powerful tool that, beyond removing items from the state budget, can be used as a threat to pressure legislators to include things in the budget that the governor wants. Another power of the legislature is the power to remove government officials from office if the legislature deems those officials to have committed particularly egregious crimes or ethics violations. To start this process, the General Assembly brings articles of impeachment against the official by a simple majority vote. Articles of impeachment specify the crimes or violations that an official is accused of committing, but do not remove the official from office in and of themselves. The state Senate is responsible for judging whether or not the impeached official should be removed from office. Conviction, aka removal from office, requires a 2/3 vote by the state Senate. However, note that conviction by the Senate is entirely distinct from a criminal conviction in court. The two types of conviction have entirely separate processes, and one type of conviction does not necessarily correlate with getting the other type of conviction as well. If you enjoyed this discussion, you should consider a visit to the New Jersey State House, home of the New Jersey Legislature, which is located at 125 West State Street, Trenton, New Jersey 08608. Tours of the State House are free, fun, and informative. Which rooms a tour will allow you to go into depends on which rooms are not currently being used, so what I'm about to say may vary, but generally, you will get to visit the Capitol Rotunda, the gallery overlooking the General Assembly chamber, the gallery overlooking the State Senate chamber, a political party conference room, and the governor's ceremonial office. The ceremonial office is the one where the governor signs bills in front of cameras or holds press conferences, as compared to his regular office, which is never shown on tours. Throughout the tour, your guide will talk about the legislature's structure and function, as well as the building's art, architecture, and history. Guides will happily answer any questions you have. Tours last about an hour. If you are with a group of 10 or more people, you will want to make a reservation in advance. Otherwise, you can just show up for one of the regular tour times. With the exception of state holidays, tours are available Monday through Friday, beginning every hour from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., as well as on the first and third Saturday of each month hourly from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. You will have to go through security, so arrive at the Capitol earlier than the time of the tour. If you are 18 or older, you must present a valid photo ID, so bring one. There is an underground parking garage in the Capitol complex. Alternatively, you can use metered street parking. Directly across the street from the State House is New Jersey's World War II Memorial. You may also enjoy walking along West State Street and looking at the headquarters of the various New Jersey government agencies located there. I will have a number of links in the video description, including one where New Jersey residents can find out who their legislators are, one where you can watch live streams of the legislative proceedings when the legislature is working, and one where you can get more information about tours of the State House. I hope you found this video enjoyable and informative. The next video in this series will cover the executive branch of New Jersey's government, so if you want to be notified when that video is released, you should consider subscribing to the channel. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.